I have been trying to make money online since September 2021. It's been 2 years and I have failed at so many business attempts. Today I am going to share all of them with you. I have still not found a huge success yet, but you may have thought for a second, why is this guy sharing his failures with us? Like when everybody on the internet is showing his cars, money, and dream life, why is this guy sharing his failures with us? So there are a couple of reasons involved with it, and I'll try to explain it to you in very simple words. I want you to know the truth. I want you to embrace the reality and show you some behind the scenes stuff. Success is not obtained overnight. I want you to understand this. When you are starting your business, it is not easy to figure out everything by yourself. Sure, you can have unfair advantages like you can have a mentor or someone can have a friend in their network that does their business that can guide them. If you have these advantages, you are very lucky. Otherwise, it can be very hard to figure out because there are so many ways of making money online. There are so many skills, and even though if you are able to select a particular skill, there are so many people talking about that and teaching that skill. So it can be very hard to make certain choices. And the biggest problem I see with people is that whenever they see a random guy on Instagram showing the money that he made online, they think that it's very easy. And when they get into the game, they realize that it is not easy that it seemed to be. And after trying for almost 1 to 2 weeks, they quit. They think that it is impossible or they will not be able to figure out or it's not made for them and thoughts like that. But you have to understand that everyone that has made money online have gone through a certain process. They didn't achieve success on their first day or even their first week. They might have achieved after years of hard work. And you have to understand this sad reality. Now I'll take you to my computer screen and I'll show you one by one every business that I have failed at, and I'll show you the complete demonstration and details also. This is going to be a very interesting ride. Keep following me. All right. So this was one of my first businesses that I started in 2021. Before then, I used to watch a lot of videos on YouTube. I watched even hundreds of hours of content of people that were teaching online earning and how to start a business type of stuff. And I joined a lot of communities like Extreme Commerce Enablers that were teaching these kind of stuff because I had no idea how this stuff works and I needed a lot of help back then. There was a friend of mine who was doing this business back in the day and he used to make some money with it. So I thought it would be a great idea to make some quick money off this business model. So I started this business and it didn't look apparently very hard until I started doing this. So this business model was very simple. We used to sell guest posting and SEO backlink services. So I'll explain to you in very simple words what does it mean. So there are some kind of blogs on internet that are of high authority. Like they have some good rankings on Google search engine. When you search about a certain topic, they appear on the number one or number two on the internet because they have high authority. And there are some blogs that are of low authority. For example, they don't have that kind of authority and they don't appear on first page of Google. So for them to be appear on the first page of Google or to increase their rankings, they need their blogs to be published on some high authority websites. But these low authority blogs doesn't have access to these high authority blogs. They don't know their contact, they don't know their prices, and they don't know anything about them. And they don't want to know about that because they don't have very much time. So I was the middleman. I used to contact a lot of high authority blogs, ask about their prices, and then I used to sell them to low authority blogs by keeping a certain commission of mine. So this was the business model, and these low authority blogs used to came to Fiverr to buy backlinks. So I made my gigs on Fiverr so that these low authority blogs can come to me for asking about prices of high authority blogs that they want to publish their backlink on, and I used to send them the list. The reason of me failing in this business model was depending a lot on others. First of all, I was depending a lot on Fiverr to sell my services. Back then, I didn't knew any way that I could sell my services. And the second one was that I was depending a lot on my friend because he had access to a lot of high authority blogs that were very difficult to contact. So whenever a client came to me, I passed that to my friend, and a lot of times my friend messed up the service and my profile got bad. So that was the reason I failed in this business. So this was my second attempt to make my own money, and it was actually a travel agency. So me along with one of my friends saw an opportunity, and that opportunity was in December 2021. Nust University was conducting a test in Islamabad. So there were a lot of students from Lahore who needed to go to Islamabad to give their test. And we thought that we should organize a trip from Lahore to Islamabad by charging them only 3500 rupees, because if they had to go by themselves, they had to spend almost 6,000 rupees. So if they go with us, they should only spend around 3,500 rupees. And if there were 40 plus students with us, we would have made so much profit from this business. But it got failed also because there were a lot of dates that the test were conducting, and we haven't been able to convince a lot of people. The people that we have been able to convince were giving their test on a different date. So that's why this business model was failed. So after failing a couple of business attempts, I thought I should play a long term game now. So I started learning a real skill, that was front end web development. So I researched a lot about high in demand and valuable skills at that time, and web development was one of them. So I started learning HTML, CSS, and JavaScript in February 2022, and I learned it for almost 2 months. And I kept on training on that, and I did some demo projects also. After that, I thought I would sell my web development services to small businesses, and I formed my company named as HSofty. So this was one of my first attempts of creating my own company. At that time, I was dreaming of creating a big company, but I know now that I didn't knew anything back then. I didn't had any idea how to get clients. I thought that clients would come magically to me in some way if I learned the skill. So that was the main problem. After that, my exams came along, and I had to leave my passion for some time in order to pass the exams, because I hadn't studied whole year in doing all of these things. So I had to leave these things for some time, and when my exams got over, I had 2 months before the start of university, so I thought I would learn a better and easier way of designing websites, because my goal was to make my first money. And I knew there were a lot of tools in the market from which you can build website for small businesses. So this is how I got introduced to WordPress, and I started my fourth business from this. So my goal and target was to get my first client through this business model, and I actually got that. So this was the first time I made my first money online, and I designed a website for one of my friends who was running a digital marketing agency back then. And after then, the university got started, and the reason of failure for this business model was also the same. I didn't knew a predictable way of getting clients. The only way was to get some luck, and if someone asked me to build a website, I was just learning the skill and not learning how to sell the skill. That was the main problem at that time. After that, I got chill for almost 3 to 4 months. My focus was to make friends in university and socialize for some time. But after my first semester got over, I was going through one of the hardest periods of my life. At that time, I sort of recreated myself, and I thought I would do something big now. So I was planning days and nights for doing something big, and suddenly a plan came across my mind. I was proficient in Notion, that is one of the tools that you can utilize to make a lot of things. So I plan to make an application for students that can help them to stay organized in their studies, and that application was named as Uniology. I spent almost 15 days and nights to make this application, by brainstorming a lot of ideas, by searching about a lot of things, by iterating it, and side by side, I created a lot of hype of that. This is the business model that I'm most proud of, because I believe this made me who I am today. This business didn't make me any money directly, but in indirect ways, it made me a lot of money. And the failure of business model is that my product was very good, my application was very good, everything was so fantastic, but the audience that I was appealing to was worse. So in this business model, the problem was product market fit and the target audience. After that, my plan was to create a society in university that was meant for entrepreneurs and people who are ambitious about their lives. So this was a very bad idea from many terms. First of all, it would have costed me a lot of time that I didn't had because I wanted to make money, but this was not a good way to make money. And also I didn't get a good support from my peers and the staff. So I abandoned from this idea very soon. So this was the most recent business that I was doing, and I spent hundreds of hours, days and nights on this business. Literally, I worked so hard for that. I made some good money out of it. I got handful of clients, and this business taught me a lot of stuff. So I started this business back in March 2023 when I got my first international client. So that client provided me business consulting services on how to start a business in exchange of my website development services. So I learned a lot from that client, and I started doing my business, and I started the business. So the business model was to make project management systems for businesses in ClickUp so they can improve their efficiency, they can enhance their team's productivity, they can increase their revenues, and everything parallel to that. But the problem with this business was same. I was relying a lot on Upwork to sell my services, and my Upwork profile got hurt a couple of months ago when I was diagnosed with dengue. I was working with two clients at that time, and I had to stop the project. And then they leave me with a bad review, and my profile got hurt. That's how this business got hurt. And there were not a lot of people that were doing these kind of services, so I hadn't found a predictable way of selling. So I actually forgot to tell you about this business. So this was the business that I was doing consequently with RT Flows. That was my last business. And the reason of me starting this business was I was inspired from a YouTuber. There's a YouTuber named as Jordan Platten. He was starting his social media marketing agency again from scratch, and he signed his first client in 5 days. So I thought if he can do it, then why couldn't I? So that's why I started this business, and I knew for a fact that I couldn't sign clients on organic ways. I knew that was a problem because at Artiflows, I was relying on Upwork to get clients. So that's why I started this business. And after starting this business, I invested a lot in softwares like Skype to call for cold calling, and I and my plan was to do cold outreach. But after a few days, I found out that I couldn't handle two businesses at the same time when both are in the beginner stages. So that's why I quit that business. I dialed almost 50 to 100 cold calls in that business, and all of them were responded negatively. So that's why I got discouraged. And the reason of failure of this business was simple. I couldn't stuck to it for a long time.